If you will, let's start by talking about how bad the situation is in Idlib province in Syria.
Okay, well, the situation there is going from bad to worse if you consider that 900,000 people have been displaced as a result of the fighting there. This is where Idlib is, right up at the northwestern corner of Syria, and they are moving slowly towards the border with Turkey, which is in the north of Syria, but that border has been sealed off by the Turkish authorities. So why is Idlib important? Because Idlib is the last rebel stronghold in Syria, which was controlled by vast numbers of rebel forces. They have slowly been pushed further and further back by the Syrian forces and are now confined to Idlib province. And the situation there is so bad that many women and children have nowhere to go, and they're sleeping outside in freezing conditions in the snow, and they are victim to bombardment by Russian forces and to attacks by the Syrian forces as they try to take shelter, and schools, shelters and hospitals are all being targeted. So this is an absolutely appallingly bad situation in northwestern Syria, and for the moment it doesn't show any sign of abating. Now, one of the reasons for that is that this is not just a Syrian situation. This is also an international situation, and there are many alliances which are playing in the Syrian conflict. Now, here's a look at some of them. Turkey, for example, that backs the Syrian rebels. Russia, they back the Syrian regime. They think that the Syrian regime is the stronghold against the spread of uncertainty in the region and also jihadist groups. As for Iran, it also backs the Syrian regime because it sees the Syrian regime as being its safest bet in the region and also a passageway for Hezbollah forces into northern Lebanon. So there is this antagonism between different countries fighting over Syria, outside Syria, plus a Syrian regime which has decided that it's not going to negotiate anything until it gets all its territory back that it lost as a result of the civil war in Syria, which started back in 2011. So the whole situation for those people in Idlib is absolutely catastrophic.
I mean, Philip, there will be people watching this who say, but hang on a minute, back in 2018, didn't Turkey and Russia actually negotiate a ceasefire?
Yes, they did, and that ceasefire, well, what was it? It was called the Sochi Agreement, and it created a buffer zone in northern Syria, which was supposed to be a safe haven for people trying to escape from the civil war. Turkey had the creation of 12 observer posts there, and as part of this agreement, the rebel forces were supposed to lay down their weapons, and the jihadists were supposed to disappear from the region. That has not happened. Some of the rebel forces have laid down their weapons, but the jihadists are still there, and that's why the Syrians say that this agreement has not worked, and they're pushing into the region even more, causing much more trouble, and they are being supported by Russian aviation. So this is a very difficult situation for all the people who are there, and despite calls from the United Nations and also from the European Union, all of those calls at the moment are falling on deaf ears.
OK, Philip Turle, our International Affairs Editor, for now. Thank you.